Today we're going to create the geometric circle prints. They are very colorful. We'll be learning about geometric shapes and about printmaking. I hope you enjoy this project. For this project, we're going to be printmaking, which is creating an artwork by pressing an object covered in paint or ink onto paper or another flat surface. We're going to be using the basic form of printmaking. We're going to be dipping an object in paint and then pressing it onto paper. There are many different methods of printmaking and printmaking techniques that are really neat. So if you get a chance, look into that. Our learning goal for today is I can use geometric shapes and basic printmaking techniques to create a work of art. So let's look at some of the art vocabulary for today. Some more art terms that you'll hear me talk about today is shape, a line whose ends meet to make a closed space. A shape is two-dimensional or flat, and it has edges or an outline. So anytime that you have a line that comes together and meets, it creates a shape. They have to touch. Also, shapes are two-dimensional. They are flat. So what we're creating today is not 3D. It is not a form. It's going to be a two-dimensional shape. Then let's talk about geometric shapes. Geometric shapes are shapes with straight lines or perfectly curved edges. They're usually found in math, and some examples are circle, triangle, square, rectangle, rhombus, quadrilateral, any of those ones that have names that you can think of, and a lot of times you find them in math class. Those would be your geometric shapes. They have rules that make them the way they are. For instance, a triangle must have 3 sides. It must have 3 points. So that's kind of how you can figure out the difference between geometric and organic. Today we're focusing on the geometric shapes, so we're going to be doing more precise shapes. Specifically, we're going to be creating a lot of circles. All right, let's see our materials. Our materials list for this project, you will need paper and pencil. The preferred supplies are black acrylic paint and watercolor paints. If you do not have these available, you can substitute them with crayons and colored pencils. The only issue with that is you really won't be printmaking, you'll be drawing, but hey, work with what you have. If you have the black acrylic paint, you're going to need that for the first step, which is the printmaking step. You cannot use another type of paint because once you start filling in the colors with watercolor, the other colors will smear. The black acrylic paint will be more permanent and it will keep the circles in good shape. So for step 1, we're going to be using the black acrylic paint if you have it available. Okay, for step 1, hopefully you have the black acrylic paint. Definitely ask your parents if that's okay to use it before you pour some on a paper plate and actually start using it. I'm also going to use half of a paper towel roll. This is the object that I'm going to be stamping to make my geometric shape, which is a circle. So what I'm going to do is I have my piece of paper here. I'm going to just dip the end of my paper towel roll, make sure I get enough paint on the circle, and I'm going to print it on the paper. So all I have to do is flip it over and stamp it down, pressing firmly. It's okay if they don't complete the circle all the way. And what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to continue to print circles around my paper. If it splatters a little bit, that's all right as well. Now I'm going to start to fill in my paper. As I do this, I am going to start overlapping some of my circles. So I do want to have some extra shapes being created by overlapping. So here I have 1, 2, 3 shapes because I overlapped my 2 circles. I want to continue to fill my paper until I'm happy with my design. I'm going to speed up this process so you can see what it looks like when it's done. If you do not have black acrylic paint, you are going to trace your circles and then outline with the black crayon. So what I would do is find a cup, and you can just flip it over on its top, and you are going to trace the circle with your pencil. And you're going to want to do the same thing that we did with the paint, but you're gonna be tracing it instead. So I'm gonna take my cup, I'm gonna move it around. I do want to overlap. I want to add circles around the paper. And I'm gonna repeat that same process. Once I'm done, I want to take my black crayon and outline my circles so they are nice and dark. And that way, if you paint or color them in, you'll have that nice black outline. So this is kind of like your option 2. If you don't have black paint, use the pencil and a black crayon. So I hope that works out for you. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, so now that the black acrylic paint from my printmaking is dried, we're ready for the final step. And I am going to be using watercolor paints for this step, but you can use any medium you wish. So you could use crayons, colored pencils, markers, oil pastels, whichever one you like. What we're going to do is we are going to fill in each shape a different color. For instance, if you look here at these 2 circles, we're going to paint this one color, the middle will be a separate color, and this side would be a third color. So we're gonna fill in every space using different colors. Now, obviously you're going to have to reuse some colors. So if I use yellow here, I'm not gonna put it right next to it, but I might use yellow over here. So you're gonna kind of jump around, paint different spaces, and then you also wanna make sure you fill in the background as well. So I'm going to speed up this process so you can see what it looks like when it's done. I hope you had a lot of fun learning about geometric shapes and printmaking, and I'd love to see your art project when it's done.